Hey everyone, welcome to another video. We just got done with the tech debt. We have synonyms and views being used. So I was planning on getting into table creation, and to be honest, I got to slow down a little bit and get some other items in place. So in this video, I'm going to do the data setup for defining defaults on all of our tables, because we'll need that when we make a table creator. And I got some feedback from one of the people that are following along, so I'm actually going to give a visual representation before I actually start doing the data work. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope it makes a little bit more sense. And yeah, leave feedback if you're looking for something more. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you after the title. So what I want to do first is look at what we currently have in the definition and relationship and data point tables or subjects. For the view two-part, we created new definitions, realm class family of system object common, and we were defining a view. So we made the type view, and then we created the select, insert, update, delete definitions themselves, created a relationship to link the definition to a data point type, because that's kind of the granularity at the data point level that we needed. And that allowed us to build these insert, update, delete, select views. Now we want to do it with defaults. So essentially what we need to do is define a new type of definition, which is going to be a default. And for the base definitions, null, true, false, and specific dataset number is what we're going to use in place of select, insert, update, delete. But we don't have to add a new relationship, because that relationship still means something. Definition to data point type, because that's exactly what we want to do. What data point type has what definition? Hey, I have a flag, UDT active flag. What's its default? Well, its default is true. Hey, I have a foreign key. What's its default? Well, its default is null. But what we need to do is figure out how to get those defaults, and we're going to do that through functions. So what that means is we need to create and define a few more functions, and then find a way to relate a definition to a function. So we will create another relationship called definition to process, which will essentially allow us to bridge the gap between data point type and process. So in this video, we're going to create a definition type, 4 definitions. We need to create functions first, which should be really fast, and classify those functions. We need to create a new relationship, realm class family type, because we are creating a new realm. The rest have to follow. And then we'll do the same thing we did in the insert, update, delete view creator, where we just use sheets to relate data to each other so we can get going. So the first thing I want to do is create our functions. Now I'm going to create something I like to call a reflect function, and I'm going to design it to be dynamically called. So FNC reflect will be my prefix, and then I'll use null. And reflect basically means whatever my function name is, that's what I'm going to return. So this function is going to return the null string. Now for my parameters, this is very special. I'm declaring a generic key, a generic name, which could be a key name, and generic JSON. Because I think no matter what we're doing, these are the only 3 variables that I will need to dynamically execute. So based on the procedure that we're using, we can choose whether to replace these tokens. For the function code itself, declaring a generic return, setting the generic return to whatever we need, in this case null, and then returning that generic return. So we can save this and basically just replace null with true and null with 1. Save it, do it again for false. Actually, it should be capitalized, and replace 1 with 0. Save it. And the last one is we're going to kind of recreate a function where it'll be get specific dataset number, And I'm going to do underscore dynamic to let us know that this is part of the dynamic calls, because we have another one for name, but we're going to actually use the key that's coming in. So we're going to get the specific dataset number from the dataset select view, where the dataset ID is the incoming generic key. Now we're going to save that. After reviewing this video, I realized that I had messed up, and it's not specific dataset number, but it's specific dataset number source. So please make that adjustment and we can go start classifying these processes. So just using our process classify process procedure, I'm going to copy the name for the reflect false. I'm going to say that all of our processes are going to be an interface main, and I'm going to declare my realm as function, my class as definition, and my class is system, and my family is definition, and my type I'll just do common. Like, I don't really have a use for these yet. We just want to kind of group them together. So after saving that, I'll replace false with true, replace true with null, and then we'll do our specific dataset number, get specific dataset number dynamic. And we'll save that. So now we have them all in our process table. So that means now we have process IDs that we can relate to other things. So I'm just gonna select everything from my process table. I'm gonna reorganize these columns and just grab that data that I need. And I'm gonna go over to Sheets and paste it, just like the view video. Then I'll go over to the definition definition type. I'll copy the view record, paste it, change view to default, and make sure that we get the key name. And then we'll go to the actual definition base table, and we could just grab a row, paste it, change the type, and then we'll do one for null. And then we'll do another one for true. Actually, I can't use capital here. I have to use lowercase. I gotta update that outside of this editor window, but we'll do another one for false. And the last one will be for the specific dataset number. And we can just give it a key name of specific DSN. So now I can copy these records and paste them in my Excel document. And finally, we have to, I'll grab the data point type records, since I'm not in the same Google Sheets that I was for the view. And now system relationship. Let's see, okay. So we need a new realm, so I can just copy paste the existing record, change data point type to process in both the key name and the name. And that should be a 3, okay. And now I'll go down to class, copy the row, paste it, change the realm to 3, and that will be a 2. So copy the row, paste it, change the class to 2, and go down to type, copy a row, paste it, change the family to 2. So that's how we set up our relationships when we're creating multiple different types of relationships. Now I will grab any record from the relationship table and paste it as kind of my template, what I'm supposed to do. And I'll just delete the primary key, kind of orient myself. So this will be the child. So I'm going to copy all of these and paste them in the child area. And the names for now will just help me determine what's going on. So I'll copy my definitions. I'll paste them off. Actually, let me remove these columns. I just need these 3. So now we'll basically start relating. Okay, the active flag should have a default of true. The trusted flag should have a default of true. Archive, security, planned, other, display should have a default of false. Primary key cleanse to should have a default of null. Cleansing flag should be false. these are just my definitions. You can alter yours accordingly. Foreign key, primary keys, source numbers, IDs, all false. Specific data set number, we made one specifically for that. All null and then specific data set number. I apologize. And then the other IDs are basically null too. Names, descriptions, all null. So now we could just remove the names, and we have basically linked a definition to a data point type. Now, same thing, copying the procedures, I need to attach the definition to the process or the procedure. Right? Well, in this case, function. We'll just call them processes from now on. Everything's a process. So false to, or true to true, false to false, null to null, and specific data set number to specific data set number. I can delete all of this data, delete the names, and then just bring everything down because everything else will be the same for the most part. I'll just copy all these, paste them, and copy these and paste them. Oh, copy too many rows. I just need the first three. So we do have to change the relationship type because we added a new one, and that would be the second column. So for the bottom pieces where the specific data set number child changes, we're going to make that the second relationship type, which is our definition to process. So now we could just grab all of this data, go over to relationship table and paste it. So now we've linked definitions to data point types and definitions to processes, so we can start at a data point type, bridge the gap, figure out what's supposed to be there, and create our defaults. And I'm just going to go into my create all and run this code. So you can see it doesn't get our 4 additional ones, but if I change it to default, we only get our 4 additional ads. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to create the code to actually create the defaults, drop the constraints and create them if they don't exist. So thank you very much for watching. Remember, like this video and YouTube will recommend it to others, and subscribe to support me. Thank you again, and I will see you next time.